You can cry over something small and still know it was never really about that one moment. It was the tone, the delay, the way someone answered without warmth, the quiet feeling that your heart noticed a change before your mind had permission to explain it. And when tears come that quickly, people may think you are fragile, but sometimes your tears are responding to something everyone else missed. You can cry over something small and still know it was never really about that one moment. It was the tone, the delay, the way someone answered without warmth, the quiet feeling that your heart noticed a change before your mind had permission to explain it. And when tears come that quickly, people may think you are fragile, but sometimes your tears are responding to something everyone else missed. Not every tear is a collapse. Sometimes a tear is the body translating a sentence the mind has not organized yet. It is not always drama. It is not always weakness. Sometimes it is emotional information arriving faster than language. And if this is the kind of psychology that gives language to things you thought you were alone in noticing, stay close to this channel because this is where we slow those patterns down enough to finally see them. There is a certain kind of woman who has been misunderstood for crying easily. She may cry during an argument, even when she is making sense. She may cry when someone speaks to her with coldness, even if the words themselves are technically polite. She may cry when she feels disappointed, but does not want to make anyone feel guilty. She may cry when she is angry, which makes people assume she is losing control, when really she may be trying very hard not to say something sharper than she means. From the outside, it can look like she is too emotional. From the inside, it often feels completely different. It feels like standing in a room where the air pressure changed, while everyone else keeps acting like the weather is normal. That is the part many people miss. For some women, crying easily does not mean their emotions are random. It means their emotional system is extremely responsive to small shifts. A change in someone's voice. A pause that lasts half a second too long. A reply that used to feel warm, but now feels like a door closing softly. The room does not have to explode for her to feel the crack forming. She is not reacting to nothing. She is reacting to the part nobody else wants to name yet. And the part almost no one talks about is that this pattern does not begin when she starts crying. It begins much earlier, in the moment she realizes she has noticed something that will probably be denied if she says it out loud. That is where the pain starts. Not with the tear, with the loneliness of noticing. Think about the everyday scene. She is sitting in bed with her phone in her hand, rereading a message that looks normal to anyone else. There is no insult in it. No obvious rejection. No dramatic confession. Just a sentence that is shorter than usual. A period where there used to be softness. A delay where there used to be eagerness. She tells herself not to care. She puts the phone down, then picks it up again. She tries to laugh at herself. She tries to be reasonable. She tries to become the kind of person who does not notice these things. But her body already noticed. And sometimes tears come because she is not only hurt by the message. She is hurt by knowing that if she explains why it hurt, someone may say, "You are reading too much into it." That phrase can make a woman go quiet in a way people do not always understand. Because for many women, being told they are reading too much into something is not just a disagreement. It can feel like being asked to unplug the very instrument that has helped them survive emotionally. Some women learned early that people do not always say what they mean. They learned that affection can be present in the morning and withdrawn by night. They learned that someone can smile while quietly judging them. They learned that the real message is not always in the words, but in the spacing between the words. So they became listeners of emotional static. They learned to hear the faint signal under the conversation. Psychologists who talk about attachment often describe how people become alert to closeness and distance, especially when care has felt inconsistent. But you do not need a diagnosis to understand the feeling. If a woman has had to earn calmness by predicting moods, she may become very skilled at reading the room. Not because she wanted to be sensitive, because at some point, sensitivity became practical. She did not become fragile. She became finely tuned. That tuning can look beautiful from the outside. She may know when a friend is pretending to be okay. She may sense when someone feels left out. She may remember the tiny detail someone mentioned once and bring it up months later. She may notice when the conversation needs warmth, when silence needs gentleness, when a person needs space instead of advice. But the same sensitivity that helps her care deeply can also make her tired. Because a mind that notices everything rarely gets to rest inside ordinary moments. A normal conversation can become a room full of clues. A casual goodbye can become something to analyze. A small disappointment can touch every older disappointment stored nearby. And when the tears come, they may not be about the single event in front of her. They may be about the pattern her body recognizes. That is why telling her calm down often does not help. She is not trying to increase the emotion. She is trying to survive the amount of meaning that arrived all at once. But here is where this becomes more complicated. Crying easily is not always a sign that a woman is overwhelmed by feeling. Sometimes it is a sign that she has been managing feeling for too long. The tears are not the beginning of the emotion. They are the moment the storage room finally runs out of shelves. She may have spent the whole day being composed, answering messages kindly, smiling through a conversation that disappointed her, letting small comments pass because she did not want to seem difficult, saying it is fine, while a more honest sentence waited behind her teeth. Then later, in a car before going inside, or in the kitchen while washing one cup, or in the bathroom with the door locked, the tears appear. Not because she is weak, because the performance of being unaffected finally ended. Many women are taught, directly or quietly, to make their emotions convenient. Be warm, but not needy. Be honest, but not intense. Be understanding, but do not require too much understanding back. Be independent, but still pleasant. Be strong, but not cold. Be soft, but not demanding. That is a very narrow hallway to walk through every day. So when a woman cries easily, sometimes what you are seeing is not lack of control. You are seeing the cost of emotional editing. You are seeing every sentence she softened before saying it. Every need she translated into something more acceptable. Every disappointment she made smaller so the room would not become uncomfortable. A tear can be the original sentence returning. The sentence before it was edited for other people's comfort. And this is where people often misunderstand emotional women, or women who appear emotional. They assume tears are an attempt to win, control, manipulate, or escape accountability. Of course, any emotion can be used poorly by anyone. But many women who cry easily are not trying to avoid the truth. They are often having a physical response to finally touching it. The truth may be, I am hurt that I had to ask for basic tenderness. The truth may be, I am tired of being praised for strength when what I wanted was support. The truth may be, I knew something changed, and I hated that I was right. The truth may be, I do not want to beg someone to notice me gently. There is a rare intelligence hidden here, but it is not the kind that always looks impressive. It does not always speak in perfect sentences. Sometimes it shows up as a trembling voice. Sometimes it appears as watery eyes during a conversation she hoped she could handle calmly. Sometimes it looks like needing a minute because her inner world processed the emotional truth before her mouth could keep up. This intelligence is not about being more emotional than everyone else. It is about detecting emotional meaning quickly. Some people notice grammar mistakes. Some people notice when a picture frame is slightly crooked. Some people can hear when one instrument in a song is off-key. And some women notice when love changes temperature. They notice when attention becomes obligation. When kindness becomes performance. When someone is present physically but absent emotionally. When an apology is technically correct but carries no real softness. When a conversation has words but no landing place. That kind of noticing can be lonely because you cannot always prove atmosphere. You can only feel it. The unexpected truth is that crying easily may not mean a woman needs to become less sensitive. It may mean she needs to stop handing her sensitivity to people who treat it like a problem to solve. Sensitivity without boundaries can become exhausting. A woman may start absorbing every shift in the room as if it belongs to her. She may feel responsible for repairing moods she did not create. She may apologize for needing clarity. She may explain herself too many times to people who are not confused, only unwilling. That is where the gift becomes heavy. Not because the gift is wrong, because it has been working without protection. A healthier version of this pattern is not becoming numb. It is learning to trust the signal without letting it drag her into every storm. It is being able to say, "I noticed something changed," without having to build a courtroom case to prove she has the right to feel it. It is being able to cry and still stay connected to her own dignity. It is being able to pause before turning someone else's distance into her responsibility. There is strength in a woman who can feel deeply without abandoning herself inside the feeling. That kind of strength is quiet. It does not always look like confidence in the mirror or a perfect speech in an argument. Sometimes it looks like wiping her eyes and still telling the truth. Sometimes it looks like not sending the third paragraph to someone who ignored the first two. Sometimes it looks like letting the tear fall without using it as evidence that she is too much. Because maybe she was never too much. Maybe she was surrounded, at times, by people who only knew how to receive the easiest version of her. And once she understands that, something shifts. She does not have to hate her tears. She does not have to worship them either.
She can listen to them.
She can ask, "What did I notice? What did I need? What did I silence before this moment?" That is emotional intelligence when it becomes mature. Not just feeling quickly, but understanding what the feeling is pointing toward. Not just crying, but learning the language of the tear. And if you are someone who cries easily, maybe the question is not, "How do I stop being this way?" Maybe the better question is, "Where did I learn that my softness had to apologize before it could speak?" So here is the question I want you to answer in the comments. What is one small thing that can make you emotional, not because it is huge, but because it reveals something deeper? Maybe it is a change in someone's tone. Maybe it is being forgotten in a small way. Maybe it is someone being kind right when you were prepared to be strong. Maybe it is realizing you have been holding yourself together all day, and one gentle sentence finally gives you permission to exhale.
Write it down.
Someone else may read your words and realize they are not strange for feeling it too. Because tears are not always proof that something is broken. Sometimes they are proof that something inside you is still honest enough to respond. A woman who cries easily may not be weak. She may simply be the first person in the room to hear the emotional truth arrive. And if you want more psychology that names the things women feel but are rarely allowed to say out loud, subscribe before you leave, because the next pattern we talk about may be the one you have been living inside without a name.